Good evening. Welcome to the second edition of Nell at Night. It's been a week already. Wow. And I hope that you all are doing well from last week. Last week we talked about showing up for things and creating a practice around some of the changes that you'd like to make in your life. For example, I referred to my health and how I began to integrate a very short daily practice into my routine so that it could stick. And what's really funny, just to touch on last week, is that I was reading in an article this week, a health magazine, and I think it was Dr. Oz or something like that. And there is a word for that, to do like a little practice every day, a health practice, and it's called streaking. I was totally cracking up because I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. I like the name. I didn't know that it existed. And also there was a term for it in the health or medical world. So there you have it, streaking. So now that we're in the second week and talked about integrating some sort of practice into your life, whatever that is, when you want to make changes in your life, some of the things that come up when we begin to make changes are what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'll give you an example about me. Last week was really amazing. I got so much positive feedback. I was astounded and so touched. Thank you. That it meant so much to me. And I got scared because I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I got such positive support around this. But then I was also like, what if I can't do this again and I'm not good enough, and if I stink, and like, what am I going to say the next week, right? So what's that? That's my fear coming in, and definitely could have stopped me from doing this video. Just thinking like, oh, no, I could never do as well next week as I did the first week because that was just beginner's luck. And maybe it was. I really don't know the answer to that. But even if it was, the key to making changes in your life is really acknowledging these things that come up for us and acting in spite of those things that come up. So oftentimes when we begin to integrate changes into our lives, you hear this like little chatter in your head, and that chatter can stop us and freeze us in our tracks. So my tip for tonight is about listening to that chatter. And so the next step when we begin to do these things, whatever it is, creating this sort of practice for ourselves or this first step in the direction of where we want to go, the next step is to realize that you may be hearing this sort of, inner chatter, this background noise that's telling you that you can't do it, you're not going to be good enough, whatever it is, who are you to be able to do this, and so just being aware that it's very normal for that to come up, and still making a choice to continue on your path is a really big step in the direction of where you want to go. So what I mean by that is, hear what your inner chatter is saying. There's no need to ignore it or say that it's not there, because there's a lengthy explanation around that, and I'll leave that for another night. However, just knowing that it's going to happen and then continuing to still do what it is that you want to do is part of the process. And know that that inner chatter, that fear, that negative talk, about, whatever it is that you're doing is meant to be there for a reason. And the reason is generally to keep you where you are, safe and protected. So as we begin to challenge that, most likely you'll begin to hear something that says, don't do that. Stay where you are. Stay safe. So as you continue on your journey, keep that in mind. And I wish you a beautiful, lovely evening and a fantastic week. Good night.